Hey guys, before we begin, I'd just like to remind you all to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you can get the latest on my videos. Otherwise, you can also just visit my website. It works. Hello guys and welcome back to Chess of Blades. Let's get back to it because it's been overdue. Because everybody kept wanting something else. They wanted a little bit more and Well, I'm here to deliver, sort of. Let's get back to it. Oh wait. Nope, that's not it. Fuck. Fuck my days. The latest slot is in May 3. No, not yet. No. Go fuck yourself. Here's the problem with my laptop. I don't think it can run that fast. So... Load save, yes. This is one of the bigger issues with regards to my laptop. I'm trying to work it out. Alright? Alright. As insufferable as Francis, I have to admit, I feel at least a little bit safer with another person in the room. Even if that person happens to be a total lecher. This doesn't feel right. I thought I made a save somewhere. I don't think I saved it properly, but I did sit on Francis' lap, so... Just that. Alright. Let's continue where we left off. Rather than taking my clothes completely off, I decided it's much more prudent decision to sleep in my underwear, so I keep them on as I slide under the covers, not taking my suspicious gaze off of Franz. However, he seems to be lost in thought, prodding with the poker at the fireplace while staring distantly into its crackling flames. If only I could figure out what's going on inside his head, and what his ultimate goal in doing all of this is. Curling under the sheets, I drift off into an uneasy doze. Occasional noises from within the room make me jerk a little, but eventually, my consciousness wanes to a deep darkness. Sorry guys, my voice is not up to Rivian levels yet. I roll over hazily under the covers. Are those birds I hear outside? How astute, unfortunate. Reluctantly, I pull my head out from under the sheets, like a bear emerging from hibernation. Gentle sunlight streams in through the window, suggesting that morning's finally arrived.
France?
Sorry, it's getting hard for me to actually match this. After rubbing my eyes, I glance around the room curiously. No one's here. It wasn't just a dream, right? What's up, Carlos? So guys, welcome to the office. Then my gaze falls upon a piece of paper lying at the foot of the bed. I reach out to pick it up, squinting at the casually scrawled words. Don't go anywhere. Wait, hold on. Let me try to pull off my Franz voice. Fudge. I can't even do it right. Don't go anywhere, kitten. Nah, oh really?
You can go gag on a pile of cocks.
You can go gag on a pile of cocks, you complete bastard! I want to write that as a title, but I can't because YouTube. God damn it! I crumple up the note and toss it towards the wall. He really thinks I'm just going to wait around for him during the day? Well, he's wrong. It's broad daylight out, and I can handle myself well enough. I don't need him to be my babysitter. Grumbling irritatedly under my breath, I slip out of bed and set about grooming and redressing myself, trying to process the events of the previous day in the meanwhile. So one of the ambassadors was assassinated, huh? How on earth are they going to keep that a secret from the guests? And what about the other ambassadors? I wonder if this is Linnaeus' job to deal with. He did give me that strange look last night. Is it possible he caught on to what Franz was doing?
This is all too much of a mess for me.
This is all too much of a mess for me, alright. It's really hard for me to match that. Muttering to myself, I leave my room and head out into the hallway. The sound of chattering voices echoes up from downstairs, making me feel more at ease. I seriously doubt it can be that dangerous during the day. Most assassins wouldn't risk publicly attacking a target, especially not in an isolated castle like this with nowhere to really run. Heading down the corridor, I turned the corner while humming softly, keeping an eye out all the while. Who on earth? Is that? Sorry, my voice is cracking, I just had juice. A woman lying on the ground. She looks unconscious. What on earth happened to her? I hurry over, quickly kneeling down beside her. She seems to be an older woman dressed in exquisite finery and... why does she look so strangely familiar? She groans, her eyes struggling open. Now she looks even more familiar. Wait, hold on. She can't be. Oh, shit.
Riven, is that you?
Oh, she sounds so good. Who did this voice? Who's this sweet grandma? I wanna know the sweet grandma. Kill for mother, Jason! Jason! Kill for mother! Sorry, me and my brother have an inside joke about that new Friday the 13th game. That's like, Camp Murder, Camp Bloodshed. I don't know, Markiplier played it. Sounding just as in disbelief as I am, she pushes herself up into a sitting position, staring at me in shock.
Aunt Valora, I wasn't expecting to see you here. Especially not, on the ground.
Your mother didn't mention a word about you coming to the celebration. I can't believe it.
I let out a slightly nervous laugh. That's not really a surprise, considering Mother and Valora aren't exactly on the best of speaking terms, even though they're sisters.
More importantly, why are you on the floor? Did something happen?
I help Valora up to her feet, and she dusts herself off with a disgruntled huff, turning her sharp gaze onto me.
Truth be told, I'm not completely sure. One moment I was on my feet, the next I was here on the ground. I think someone snuck up on me when I was leaving my room.
You're saying someone attacked you?
Wow, that is a small world. When she nods irritatedly in agreement, I feel beads of cold sweat break out on the back of my neck. So much for my theory of I'm completely safe in broad daylight.
I don't appear to be missing anything, so I'm quite baffled as to what their motive was. Regardless, I was on my way to the Inquisitor's chambers to be briefed on something that apparently happened last night. My vacation has been ruined already, it seems.
Oh, that's right. You're the King's main advisor on foreign affairs, aren't you?
Yes, but if it weren't for the prestige and pay, you'd sooner catch me cleaning chamber pots than in this job. Tensions between us and our neighbors are at all-time highs, and things are only getting worse.
I tense slightly at her words. If she doesn't know about the ambassador's death yet, well, let's just say I don't want to be around when she finds out. Although why wasn't she immediately informed last night? It seems like something the King's foreign advisor would need to know as soon as possible. Was it just negligence, or did they want to get further in their investigation first? Deciding to spill the beans a little, I clear my throat with an awkward smile.
Well, regarding last night's incident, it was a murder, actually. Yours truly happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I almost got detained as a suspect.
Valora's eyes widen, her lips parting as she inhales a gasp.
A murder? Oh, well, that's just delightful, isn't it? How did you get caught up in it? Sticking your nose in places it shouldn't be?
She squints at me a little suspiciously, and I can't help but shrink back a bit. Is she really thinking I'm involved with this?
No, I was just in the gardens around the same time the murder took place nearby, you see. I didn't hear so much as a scream. It's almost disappointing, really.
You'd better watch yourself more carefully, Being your father's son won't excuse you from everything.
And she thinks I used father's name to wiggle out of being held as a suspect, does she? Well, she always seemed to like him a lot more than she likes Mother. Maybe a little too much, actually. I think she holds him in higher esteem than she does the King himself.
Speaking of your father, do give him my regards when you get back home, won't you? It's a shame how little we talk after he retired.
Yes, I'll try to remember to let him know. I'm sure he misses you too.
Actually, Father absolutely despises Valora. I feel like he's called her a slimy old witch more than a few times. She does look like a witch. Look at that black mage outfit. Ugh. Probably better not to tell her about that, though.
Of course, of course. Well, I'll be on my way to get the details of this whole murderous affair then, and let the Inquisitor know some attacker of defenseless women is running around on the loose. Do take care, Rivian.
I wiggle my fingers as she passes by, watching her elegant figure until it disappears around the corner. Well. I swear, each time I talk to Valora, she looks at me like I'm some sort of unruly child. Maybe I remind her of Mother too much, or maybe she just gives everyone who isn't Father that look. It's hard speaking the Queen's English, guys. I am not a perfect Brit, alright? I used to be able to do it back in high school, but right now it's just a bit quaint. Deciding it's in my best interest not to dilly-dally in the same spot Valora was knocked out, I quickly head to the main hall. I make it to the stairs without any further incident, which is far more of a relief than it really ought to be. On the balcony, a few servants are drifting around with trays of light delicacies and pastries, and I take a few here and there to cobble together as a casual breakfast. While I eat, my thoughts drift idly back to France. I wonder what he left my room to go do. Find clues, maybe? Or perhaps he's got another lord or lady he's trying to woo. My earphones are broken, damn it. Surely I can't be the only person he treats like that. I bet he plays around all the time and just drops the object of his affections as soon as he gets bored. I shake my head moodily as I lean against the balcony. Well, it's not in any of my business what he does. I just wish he'd stop pretending like I'm special or like he knows me. It's damn distracting. As I silently gripe myself while observing the well-dressed ladies and gentlemen stroll around below, a small tug comes at my sleeve. A little startled, I quickly glance over to my left. Well, there you are, you little shit! To my surprise, there stands Hazel, beaming up brightly at me. You little shit! How dare you get me in trouble?
Oh, hello, Hazel. What mischief are you trying to get yourself into today?
That's not very nice. I just saw you come over here and wanted to give you back something you dropped.
Her lips curl in a hurt pout, shoulders drooping slightly.
Ah, that was rather unnecessary of me then. Sorry about that. Here, how about you take my pastry?
As if I'd flipped some magical switch, Hazel immediately brightens up, all but bouncing on her toes while giving me an eager nod. I hand her over the fluffy ice strudel I was originally very excited to eat before that fit of brooding ruined my appetite. Hazel, at least, looks like she'll enjoy it much more than I will. She starts happily munching away, a bit of icing getting on her cheeks.
What about this thing I dropped, though? I don't remember having anything in my pockets.
Oh, right. Here you go, sir. I saw someone put it in your pocket while you were walking around, but it fell out.
Someone put something in my pocket! Girl, do you not see how fucking devious that is? Blinking in surprise, I take the small folded piece of paper Hazel hands over to me, wiping off the crumbs that fell onto it. Someone put a piece of paper into my pocket? Well, it was a little crowded back by the stairs. Maybe I just thought someone bumped into me. And I unfolded curiously, scanning over the contents. Meet me tonight, alone, the storage room with the king's portrait. I have a warning for you. My heart skips a beat. There's no way. Was that the murderer?
Is something wrong, sir? You look a little funny.
Shit, if this is France, I'm pissed. Hold on. Let me save. Fuck. Can I save? Please tell me I can save. Yes, Lord. I'm saving here too, just in case, but Jesus Christ. I'm being invited, so I'm gonna save somewhere else because I'm gonna have a second save ready. But I swear, if the ending is detrimental to this one choice that I'm gonna do about meeting someone or not, I'll be pissed beyond my pants. Watching me with a concerned expression while chewing on the rest of the pastry, Hazel tilts her head curiously.
Ah, no, it's nothing. Just a bit of a strange message, that's all. You didn't happen to see the person who put this in my pocket, did you?
Hazel,
Before Hazel can respond to my nervous question, a woman suddenly comes hurrying up to the girl's side, bending down next to her with a slight gasp. She looks older than me, but not quite Silas's age. The lines on her forehead, however, imply a sort of stress and maturity beyond her years.
I told you not to eat sweets after breakfast. And what are you doing out here in the hall?
The woman, whose outfit suggests she's a maid, chides Hazel softly while brushing off the icing on her cheek with one thumb.
But, Mom...
Quickly crumpling the paper in my hand and stuffing it in my pocket, I clear my throat and bow slightly to the maid.
That would be my responsibility, miss. She helped me out a great deal by returning something to me, so I gave her a little treat as a reward. I hope it's not too troubling for you.
The maid, Hazel's mother by the sound of it, looks up to me with widening eyes, then glances back to Hazel, who nods happily.
Oh, I see. That's very kind of you, sir. Little Hazel gets into trouble more often than not, but I'm glad that she's doing something helpful now and then too.
She's full of good intentions, don't you worry, but she's also rather mischievous. I wouldn't trust her. No. She offers me a relieved smile, although her eyes study my face with another, slightly sharper look. Calm down, lady. It's not my fault your little girl thinks I'm her older brother.
I'm Emily, and Hazel here is my daughter. I'm very sorry if she's been bothering you at all. It's just exciting for her to be around so many people at once. I must say, it's a little overwhelming for me too.
Oh, don't worry, it gets the best of us. I nod grimly, very much able to sympathize.
Yes, there's quite a great deal going on here, in more ways than one. I'm glad Hazel's enjoying things here, at least.
Don't you like parties, sir? There's so many pretty outfits and tasty food and lovely music, and the festival too.
I'm almost tempted to go for the, what does that Highland Scottish accent. Hold on, how do I best describe it? It's like Merida. I'm here to change my fate. Don't you like parties, sir? That's so I'm sorry. I'm just gonna shut up. I'm really tired too. And murder, I add dryly in my head. Although, even without the murder, I feel like I'd still be more than ready to go home at this point.
You're quite right. Speaking of the festival, I think I'll go out and catch some fresh air. Thanks again for your help, Hazel.
You're welcome, sir. Make sure it doesn't fall out of your pockets again.
That sounds really menacing. Fucking hell. Hazel giggles mischievously, entirely unaware of how ominous a message she brought me.
Oh, by the way, do you know where I might find the storage rooms? I, just thought I'd pass by them on my tour of the castle, you know.
That sounds fucking fucking suspicious, Rivian. Good job. My clumsy reasoning causes Emily to tilt her head curiously at me, her eyebrows knitting a little. A moment later, though, she offers me a slightly puzzled smile, nodding her head.
Yes, sir. They're on the main floor, down the east corridor. You'll find them if you head down the hall a little bit, I'm sure.
I inwardly breathe a sigh of relief, giving the maid a grateful nod. One day I'll figure my way around these social blunderings, although it may not be this day.
Enjoy the rest of your morning then,
Nope.
sir.
Nope. I will
Come,
not
Hazel.
enable voices.
Let's go tidy the rooms upstairs.
Self-voicing disabled.
Yes, Mum.
Work first before play. Feeling slightly guilty for going out to the festival while poor Hazel stuck inside, I offer the two a wave as we head off in different directions, then trot down to the main level. The note in my pocket is begging me to read it again just to make sure I didn't mistake any of the words. However, I'm almost certain that it has to be tied to the murder case somehow, which, considering how close the message's deliverer got to me, is more than a little unsettling. Who's the murderer? If I can catch Hazel again, maybe I can ask her if she saw who it was. There might be a clue there as to the murderer's identity, but would the actual culprit really dare to approach me if they thought I'd recognize them? It seems like an obvious trap to go meet whoever delivered the note, and yet it might be the only way for me to figure out the orchestrator behind all this. I suppose I can put off the decision until this evening. It's going to weigh on me until then, though. Sighing to myself, I stepped through the castle doors into the outside, heading towards the chattering and energetic crowd surrounding the festival stalls. The weather is undeniably beautiful, and the cheerful atmosphere is enough to brighten even my sour mood. Still, to think that among this crowd there could be a murderer. That's enough to ruin just about anyone's enjoyment, I think. Ah, how ignorance is bliss. Stopping at a crowded stall, I peer over the customers' heads to glimpse the vendors' wares. Ah, they're masks! That's right, I was going to get one for the masquerade ball. He's got quite the collection. Might as well treat myself while I'm here. I wind up buying a rather overpriced but nonetheless magnificent mask. I doubt I'll be going to another masquerade anytime soon, so I might as well make this one count. Tucking the mask into my coat, I turn around and start wandering towards another stall. Suddenly, I see a familiar figure approaching me quickly through the crowd. Is it Auden or is it someone else? Roguish features, dark hair, a muscular build? There's no mistaking it, there's Franz! I instantly turn around and try to push my way through the throng of people to escape, gritting my teeth together. Damn it, he's not the person I want to see right now.
I thought I said not to start running around, kitten. What am I going to do with you?
You can't keep a cat in a cage, and you can always purr against me if you like. A hand swiftly catches my wrists, and before I can try to pull away, Franz tugs me back towards him.
You'll kindly remember I'm not under some kind of house arrest. Besides, what are you out here for? So much for trying to figure out who the assassin was?
I mutter irritatedly at Franz as he lets out a chuckle, rubbing his free hand along one side of his stubbled face while shaking his head.
Calm down, calm down. Let's not go saying words like assassin in crowds. But before you start giving me that hurtful stare, you should know I've been looking around for information, not having a fun day playing at the festival. But now that you're here, and I figured you'd wander out eventually, we can do some exploration together. Our first couple's outing.
Hold on! Why can't I get over his voice? I can't! Damn it! It's too good! I feel bad! I'm such a whore! With a dreamy sigh, Franz starts to lead me through the crowd, his hand slipping down from my arm to thread his long fingers between my own. A sense of defeat sweeps over me, and I follow him along somewhat reluctantly. What annoys me most, though, is how at ease I feel now that he's back at my side. Hold on, let me save. Yes. I wish my computer would run faster, but this is the best I can do. It's not like you can really blame me. He's so tall, and he has the build of someone who can easily wield a blade or win in hand-to-hand combat. Well, Franz's physique isn't any of my business, but if he's so insistent on being my de facto bodyguard, it's important that he's not flimsy. Oh, I bet he's sturdy. Very hard and sturdy.
Are you going to win me a prize at one of the booths?
Yes, please. I glance up at him as we stroll along, feeling slightly self-conscious about our conspicuous hand-holding. Even if I protest, he'll probably come up with some ridiculous excuse like, I don't want you running off again. Well, there are worse things to deal with, I suppose.
I thought we'd go see the fights. What if our culprit is actually hiding in plain sight, and is blending in as one of the jousters or brawlers? Assassins have to be good fighters, you know.
Don't be ridiculous. He'd have to be a madman to try something like that. Now, some of these vendors, they're rather shady.
Oh great, now you're bonding! Good job!
Is your head screwed on properly, kitten? What kind of vegetable peddler moonlights as an assassin? Death by rotten produce?
At least you guys are having fun. We continue bickering about the murderer's hidden identity as we walk along. Our conversation turning into a contest of who can come up with the most ridiculous theory. The atmosphere is probably far too light for the gravity of the situation, especially considering how grave a danger Franz led me into thinking I was in yesterday. but it's difficult to stay on edge while we stroll along the lively festival grounds, trading quips, and for the first time since I arrived in this place, I find myself surprisingly at ease. Franz too seems more relaxed than his usual aggressively lewd self, and he almost looks rather innocent as he admires the wealth of exotic goods and fanciful wares on display around us. I notice, however, that his gaze frequently flicks about, keeping a watchful eye on our surroundings.
Oi, Franz. I was wondering, have you... Hold on a moment, is that the boy from yesterday?
Just as I interrupt our banter to ask Franz a question, my eyes are suddenly drawn to a familiar face in the crowd. Alistair, wasn't that his name?
Oh, that one. I'm surprised old Glasses still doesn't have him trapped in his room. Who knows what ungodly things he's probably doing to the poor boy.
Oh dear lord, don't give me images! I shoot Franz a flat look at his mockingly sympathetic words before glancing back over to the young man who's slouching by one of the vendors selling savory good foods. He's gonna nick something. He meets my gaze a moment later and abruptly bolts upright to stare at me like a startled deer. Oh, he probably thinks I have it out for him because he tangled me up in the whole mess with Linnaeus. Well, I'm not happy about it, but it really wasn't his fault.
Let's go talk to him. He might have some important clues, don't you think?
It's possible, if you can keep him from scampering away first. Give him a friendly smile and a wave, why don't you? That constant glare of yours doesn't excite everyone as much as it does me, you know.
Attempting to follow Franz's advice while ignoring his comment, I awkwardly waggle my fingers at Alistair. He freezes for a moment, gaping at us with a petrified expression, before finally raising a trembling hand to return the gesture. I decide to seize the opportunity and tug Franz over in Alistair's direction, approaching him a little cautiously so that he doesn't decide to bolt. It's like dealing with a feral cat or something, I swear. Don't worry, brat. When we get closer, I see that he's holding some half-eaten delicacy on a stick, nervously chewing what's probably some of the other half. Franz and I come to a halt a distance away from him, and a few moments of awkward silence stretched between us. Then, clearing my throat, I attempt to fill the uncomfortable pause with the most cheerful voice I can muster. Which is to say, not very.
Well, enjoying the festival, Good thing you aren't still caught up in all that awful business from last night, eh?
He winces a little when I bring up yesterday's incident. Ugh, I probably should have waited to mention that until later. Another sublime display of socialization, Rivian.
Yes, sir. Truth be told, I'm here to avoid someone. What?
Alistair swallows, his eyes dropping down to his feet.
Avoid someone? Is Sir Four Eyes stalking you or something?
Franz's tone sounds somewhat more direct than I was expecting, as if he's impatient with Alistair's tentative way of speaking. Wasn't he the one who told me to be more friendly?
No. It's my guardian. She's going to be in a very bad mood today, I think.
I think I know who that is, isn't that the lady? He anxiously fiddles with the street food he's holding, looking rather unhappy. I have to say, if his meek way of speech wasn't so annoying, he'd almost be cute in a mousy sort of way, which is not my type, let's be honest.
I see. That's quite a shame. Well, we won't bother you too long, but I wanted to ask you a little more about last night, if you don't mind.
Trying to work my way rather unsubtly back to the main point, I offer him an encouraging nod in an attempt to sound a little less aggressive. He shifts a bit uneasily, but doesn't seem as completely closed off as when I first brought it up. So I decided to take the plunge.
About who you saw going into the gardens, besides me, obviously, was there anyone else? People who seemed suspicious or out of the ordinary?
As I watch him intently, Alistair visibly hesitates, averting his gaze for a moment. Is he hiding something, or is it just his normal anxious attitude? I can't tell, damn it.
Well, Rivian asked you a question, didn't he? Did you see someone suspicious or didn't you? Or, well, surely you're not protecting someone.
Oh boy, yeesh.
No. It's not like that, I swear, sir. I really can't say anything. You have to believe me.
Franz's accusation makes Alistair suddenly tense up, the stick of food dropping from his hand as he takes a hasty step backwards. Grinding my teeth quietly, I elbow Franz in the side, letting out a pointed cough.
No, we're not trying to accuse you of anything. Really, can't we just have a little chat about...
It wasn't her. There's no way. Sorry, gotta go.
And there we go. Before I can so much as get another word out, the wide-eyed Alistair turns on his heel and dashes into the crowd at top speed. I stare in disbelief at his diminishing figure until it disappears in the throng of people. Damn, he's surprisingly fast for someone so small.
So, was that really necessary? If you had been any more direct with him, he probably would have soiled himself on the spot.
Turning to glare up at Franz, I fold my arms over my chest, expecting a sheepish reaction. But instead, he just smirks slyly back at me, lifting his shoulders in an innocent shrug.
Really? I thought it was quite effective. After all, he was so flustered that he practically blurted out who he was trying to protect. Her, is it?
I suppose so. If you hadn't scared him off, we might have gotten a name. The fact that it's a girl doesn't narrow it down a whole lot, does it?
Franz doesn't appear the slightest bit remorseful or even mildly apologetic, so I decide to save my breath, chastising him, and just shake my head. It's the maid, isn't it?
I think not everything here
it.
is what it seems to be, kitten. Let's not forget that we're all playing parts in a much larger game. And sometimes, if you don't attack your opponent while you can, you never get the chance to again.
That's right, you sexy beast. I'm just gonna use this as a title card because I have no remorse. Actually, are there assets of the game? Because if there are, like this body picture, it would save me a ton of time. Rather than elaborating on his statement, he instead reaches out a finger towards my neck. Tracing the tip horizontally along my throat, the gesture slow enough to be as much dangerous as it is suggestive.
Right now, your position's better than you think it is. After all, our enemy believes you have a clue as to who they are. We just have to use that to our advantage.
How? Speaking of which, I should show him the note. The fact that Franz refers to all of this so casually as a game is more unsettling than it is reassuring. Sure, I love a good one-on-one every now and then, but not when it stakes on my life. Is this truly what being in court is like? He acts as if it's a normal occurrence.
Well, I sure dampened the mood, didn't I? Don't look so pale. I like you better when you're blushing. Come on, let's continue over to the games.
Fine.
Alright. I can only play so much in a day, I'm sorry guys. Still feeling slightly sobered, I follow Franz back out into the main crowd, which seems even larger now that it's around midday. Our back and forth chatter is a little less lively, mostly on my end, as we make our way towards the sandy floored arena that's encircled by a thick throng of people. Judging from the loud cheers, some kind of fight is going on currently. I've always found combat sports to be a little barbaric, rather hypocritical for nobles so enthralled with genteel manners. Maybe it's an outlet for their human aggression. As Franz and I push our way to the side of the ring, my eyes fall onto the two men taking wide punches at each other in a sort of hand-to-hand
Who's
brawl.
that fiery head one? He's positively giant.
Ooh, there's a giant!
Him? He's one of the king's favorites, I think. Doesn't take much to see why. He's built like a brick house.
I prefer an agile lion or an agile panther such as Franz, but this works too. Franz pauses, casting me a somewhat sharp glance from the corner of his eye.
I hope you're not getting any funny thoughts. He's twice your size, you know. He'd impale you from one end to the other.
How about you just shut up? My head isn't constantly filled with vulgarity and like someone I know.
I want to be drilled from both ends, I'm sorry. Chuckling smugly, Franz ruffles a hand through my hair, destroying the work I spent on my neatly and painstakingly groomed locks. I press my lips together and bear the indignity of it, deciding to focus on the two men beating each other up instead.
Do you really believe any of these brawlers could be our assassin? They seem a little too much on the burly side to not be noticed.
I think you're right. That boy would have probably called out one of them as the culprit if he'd seen them going into the gardens. What's a more obvious murderer than one with biceps the size of watermelons?
I would love that, though.
Well, he thought I was a suspect. So you should take his observations with a grain of salt, you know.
You're plenty suspicious. I'm sure a lot of people interpret your awkwardness as trying to hide something.
A sour expression overtakes my face, but it's difficult to argue with Franz's point. Well, it's not my fault I'm not used to talking to so many people. It's a bit of social fumbling, all it takes to be thought of as shady. Father hates being crowded around crowds as much as I do. Maybe he's so brutally direct that it comes off as straightforwardness rather than acting suspicious. I'm not desperate enough to take a page out of his book yet. Maybe I'll hire an etiquette tutor when I get back home. I fall into my musings and practically zone out for the rest of the fight, which continues on for a little while longer. Only when the ginger-haired man squarely knocks out his opponent does the crowd erupt into cheers, and he victoriously strides out of the ring with his hands
I
raised.
could have seen that one coming. Let's ask him if he might know of anyone suspicious.
Oh, Sir Watermelon Arms. Why not, I suppose?
Can I flirt with Sir Watermelon Arms? I feel like I know what his character is. We step our way through the throng of people, which steadily grows thinner now that there's a break between fights. The tall brawler's getting the blood wiped off his cheeks by a clearly flustered young woman, who is probably more than a little intimidated by how his hands are the size of her head. You know what? It's fine. I'll approve of this. I bang him. He turns to it. That scar, though, looks too menacing, looks like a layer of skin was ripped off. And it stayed there, so there's flapping skin. He tends to... Considering scars, you should probably blend. I don't know, I'm not an expert. He turns to us, however, when we approach, eyeing Franz for a few long moments before his gaze flicks down to me dubiously.
There's something you lads been eating.
Oh, there's the
I
voice.
didn't take kindly to just being gorped at.
His thickly accented voice bellows out, deep and loud enough that it seems like it could potentially shake the ground if he were shouting. I swallow my nervousness and attempt to come up with some sort of placating remark, but before I get the chance, Franz suddenly clears his throat.
Have you seen anything out of the ordinary around the castle by chance? We're looking into a little mishap that occurred recently.
I wouldn't mind getting fucked by the left one, but I would love to be fucked and romanced by the right one. Oh! I shoot him a sidelong glance. He'd better not mess things up again like he did with Alistair. I have a feeling the results would be a lot worse with this brute too. And getting smashed into a Rivian-shaped bloodstain on the ground isn't on my list of plans for today.
Out of the ordinary.
Out of the
I've no
ordinary.
clue what you damn nobles think's ordinary. But...
He pauses, scratching ponderously at his cheek, a bawdy grin rising to his lips soon after.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning it. I do remember
his
seeing
voice?
one of the maids scurrying around all anxious like inside the castle last evening. When I was paying a visit to a... admirer.
But, well, I can't really blame him, but one of the maids I am calling it is Emily! Fucking hell!
I didn't think much of it due to being distracted, but I remember
Who
the
did the voice
lass
for
had
this
a
guy? It
pretty
is so
face,
good. It is
big
fucking
brown
crisp.
eyes and Darkish hair on their shoulders. Look plenty nervous, though.
Yeah, that sounds like Emily. Francis' eyebrows knit together at the man's description, and he flicks his gaze thoughtfully to one side. Big brown eyes and dark hair around her shoulders. Doesn't that sound a little like Hazel's mother?
She was on the floor with the guest rooms then. Did you see if she was carrying anything?
Well, I weren't staring at her hands, but I reckon she had some sort of large cloth bundle. Something valuable, most likely. Yes, she seemed awfully shaky for just last night.
I'm surprised he remembers such a detail. The brawler raises his mountain-like shoulders in a shrug. He seems to be watching us a bit curiously, or maybe suspiciously. Perhaps we shouldn't attract any more undue attention by asking people such forthright questions. After all, we don't know who might be working against us.
I see. Well, you've been very helpful, sir. Congratulations on your victory.
Brisk but cordial, Franz offers a nod of thanks, to which the large fighter lets out a snort.
You're speaking as if it were an even match. Bah. Can't expect you lot to know about real fighting anyways.
Well, he left. He mutters to himself in an irritated tone and turns away from us, shaking his head disparagingly. Franz, however, seems to have already moved on, and he beckons for me to follow him back into the crowd. Well, a true strong man does not flaunt his moves. I glance between him and the dismissive brawler's back, debating on whether it's worth trying to pry any more answers out of him. Fuck, do I have to decide? Hold on, let me save. I am not ready for this shit. Nope, niet, nah. But I have a feeling we've outstayed our welcome, and Franz looks a little impatient. Sighing, I return to Franz's side, mulling over this new coup. A nervous feeling curls in the pit of my stomach when I compare the fighter's description of the maid to the woman I met earlier.
Excuse me,
Again? A tall god irritatedly elbows his way past us, and I realize with some embarrassment that we're standing in the middle of the busy path. I grab Francis' wrist and tug him a little bit out of the way, offering an apologetic nod to the god as he shuffles past.
What do you think about all this then, Franz? Franz?
When an immediate reply doesn't come, I inquisitively glance over to the tall man, who seems to be lost in thought. His eyes are focused in the distance, towards the same direction as that annoyed guard stalked off in. I nudge his side impatiently, and he blinks for a moment before directing his emerald gaze down at me.
Ah, kitten. As much as it pains me, I believe I'll need to leave your side for a little while. Can you stay out of trouble until I'm back?
Fine, whatever you wish. I suppose I'll see you when I see you.
Yes, you will. His response surprises me a little, so my words come out sounding somewhat surly. Franz pauses, lips curling into a devilish smirk.
Has parting become a sweet sorrow? You don't seem as keen on getting rid of me this time.
You're just my bodyguard, you know. Don't go getting a swell head.
Oh, something's swelling, alright. My flustered reply elicits a chuckle from Franz, who lowers himself in a bow. A moment later, he slips off into the crowd and I lose sight of his broad back into the sea of people. Where is he going off to so suddenly anyway? Probably the god. He seemed fairly distracted. Did some kind of idea pop into his head? Feeling a little disheartened, I slowly make my way back to the castle, shoving my hands moodily into my pockets. The afternoon sun beats down on me heavily, helping to sap away my previous energy and enthusiasm. It's hard to shake a sense of frustration from having all these pieces that don't fit together, too. And I have no idea who my opponent is, even though I sense some of the moves they're making. No, more importantly, do I even have an opponent? I've only been going off of Franz's word that I'm being targeted. Maybe I'm just deluding myself into a sense of danger when nothing's really there. But there is that one note that Hazel gave me earlier. I forgot to ask Franz what he thought about it, but perhaps it's better I didn't. It's probably related to what happened before, though I doubt it could be from the murderer. It seems like too blatant of a trap. Damn it all, this is too confusing. I gloomily pushed my way through the castle doors and into the main hall, intent on returning to my room's solitude for at least a little while. Social gatherings are bad enough without all this deadly intrigue layered on top.
Ah, sir. May I speak with you for a moment?
Silas? You know, Silas doesn't really look too old. If they gave him a few lines, it would probably work. I turned to see Silas approaching me from one side of the hall, his long strides carrying him forward quickly.
Hello, Silas. What is your fastidious self up to this fine afternoon?
Silas's brow creased slightly, his expression indicating some degree of concern.
Lady Valora came to me just a few minutes ago, seeming quite distressed. She asked to speak with you, but as I did not know your whereabouts, I directed her to your room instead.
Fuck, if she's murdered there, I'll be so pissed.
I'm afraid I opened it using the servant's spare key. I hope it was not too invasive of your privacy, but Lady Valora was very distraught indeed.
Oh, lovely. I suppose Linnaeus gave her the briefing. Talk about the nightmare vacation, I almost feel sorry for her.
Well, as long as you didn't rummage through my underwear drawer, I think I can excuse your invasion of my room.
That seems like an action more befitting of Sir Chaumont, if I may say so, sir.
I give Silas a puzzled look at the mention of an unfamiliar name, and he blinks at me curiously.
Sir Franz Chaumont, the nephew of the Peruvian king.
Oh!
I had noticed him following you closely since you arrived, despite his tendency to keep a low profile.
Oh, so Franz Chaumont is a Peruvian king. He's the nephew. I stare blankly at Silas with my jaw agape. Franz is part of a royal family?
Ah, I beg your pardon, sir. I only remember his identity due to my age. He made frequent visits to our kingdom along with the Peruvian ambassador, you see.
Let's get some more information. I can't constrain my curiosity any longer. I want to learn the truth behind Franz's secretive past, even if it comes back to bite me later. I don't know what it could possibly achieve, but if he's going to insist on sticking me through this whole celebration, I have a right to be interested in his motives, don't I?
Silas, this is important. What else do you know about Franz? Why he's here, who he's with, for his friends, his enemies?
Wow. The butler looks a little taken aback at my not-so-subtle questioning, but his eyes soon glimmer with a sly light.
I am not privy to Sir Chaumont's secrets, I'm afraid, sir. He seems quite taken with you, however. So perhaps you may have some luck asking him yourself.
I silently grit my teeth together in frustration. Silas has to know more than just that. Is he not telling me out of consideration for Franz's privacy?
However, he has also shown a great interest towards the young lady Celeste. He has consistently eyed her since the celebration started, I believe.
Celeste? She's associated with... Celeste is associated with... Alistair, so that's something. Other than that, there's also Emily. Fuck, the ladies are here. The perceptive of... or maybe just nosy, butler chuckles a little to himself, shaking his head.
Celeste, is it?
I see. A strange uncomfortable annoyance tightens in my stomach when I hear Silas's words. I have to remember Franz's playboy appearance isn't just an act. But why does he keep following me around then? Does he think I'll eventually give in to him just because he's tall and charismatic? I will! I would! I'm sorry! Well, he's completely out of his mind. I refuse to waste my time on someone like that, regardless of whether he thinks he has my best interests at heart. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been stringing me along with lies all this time just for amusement's sake, to be quite honest.
Your face has grown rather flushed, sir. Do you require a visit to the infirmary?
No, nothing like that. I'm fine.
Rivy's blushing like hell.
I'll be going to my room now, I think. But thanks for your help, Silas.
Of course, sir. Should you need anything, please do not hesitate to request my services.
I offer a slow nod to the butler before turning towards the stairs, closing my eyes with a long exhale. I hardly know what to think anymore. Father, how on earth did you survive playing games like this for 30 years? All this information, misinformation, and conspiracies, it's as if I'm a pawn on a board where I can't see more than one step ahead.
Maybe I should give up the aristocracy and become a monk instead.
Nah, farmer's more profitable. Mumbling to myself, I return to my room with heavy steps, all but dragging my feet as I head down the corridors. On my way, I pass by a happily chattering couple, probably on their way down to the festival. I'm just gonna finish this up, guys.
I can't wait until the
Valora.
masquerade ball! Are you going to romance me like a mysterious stranger, Gerard?
Jesus Christ, this bitch and her Gerard.
Of course, love.
Oh, God.
Even in a sea of masks, I have eyes only for you.
Kill me now! I cast the cooing pair a sour glance, but they're too enraptured with each other to even notice me. Disgusting lovebirds. I bet he's probably cheating on the girl with his sister or something. That's new. Fishing out my key, I unlock my room door and step inside, about to let out a sigh of heavy relief.
Rivian, why in the god's name did you not tell me about this last night?
Oh yes. I forgot about my uninvited guest. I suppose I should have known she'd be a bit testy over me not giving her all the details earlier. Valora, who had been primly sitting in a chair by the fireplace, quickly pushes up to her feet and storms over to me.
Apologies, Aunt Valora. I wasn't sure if the Inquisitor was alright with me leaking any sensitive information, you know.
Leaking? You know as well as I do that I was to be informed regardless. I've been running around trying to patch up this crisis all morning while you were out goofing around.
Well, that's just not fair, is it? She's the one who's the foreign advisor. What the hell do I have to do with it?
Actually, I was looking into more details about the murder for my own, private investigation, so to speak.
Oh, really? Well, what did you find out? The King's men are investigating as well, but if no culprit is discovered, things will surely end in a crisis.
I can't help but blink a little at her serious questioning. I was expecting her to blow off my investigation considering how unqualified I am, but maybe she has enough faith in Father to extend to me a little as well. Although I can't help but wonder if that's more of a bad thing than a good one.
Not a great deal, unfortunately. I did glean that one of the witnesses is trying to protect some woman, and one of the maids was seen acting suspiciously close to the time of the murder, however.
One of the maids, are you sure about that? I'll have them rounded up and questioned immediately.
Wait, let's not be too hasty. Could I not question the girl myself a bit first? I don't think we should rush to conclusions, you know.
Valora gives me a flat, stern glare, her eyes filled with a skeptical glint.
This is a diplomatic disaster, Rivian. If a culprit is not found and punished, we will never be able to repair relations with Pruivia.
Oh shoot, it's the Peruvian ambassador who got killed. The ambassador was from Pruivia? No wonder France has been so invested in all of this. As part of the Peruvian royal family.
More importantly, I suspect something very sinister is at work here. This incident reminds me of something that happened years ago. Something that involved a group intent on plunging the continent into chaos.
You know what? You're a strong aunt. I like you already, Miss Valora. The chilliness of Valora's eyes almost makes me shiver. She looks deadly serious, and I sense an ominous undercurrent in her words.
An underground cult known as the Disciples of Ignatius has been plaguing our government for some time now. They work to destabilize authority, and though we don't know what their true aim is, they are dangerously skilled at what they do.
You think one of their members killed the ambassador, then? Do you think they'll try to strike again?
Her lips press together tightly, and she lowers her voice a little.
I suspect they will. And for your own sake, you had best stop interacting with foreigners at this gathering any more than necessary. We can barely trust those inside our own borders at present, and anything you do may be turned against you.
I swallow, averting my gaze a little uneasily. Now that I think about it, Linnaeus probably complained to her about Franz's appearance last night, and I'm sure she knows who he is. Valora watches me keenly for a moment, and somehow I glimpse the same determination in her expression that I've so often seen on Father's face. This is what court does to you. Soon, though, she sighs and smooths out her clothes a little, taking a few steps towards the door.
Now I'm going to see about this questioning of the maids. We are sorely lacking in evidence, so I intend to hunt down every bloody clue that I can find. Inform Linnaeus should anything else come to light, Rivian. And make sure not to blemish your father's name by getting caught up in anything else unsavory. The last thing your family needs is a scandal.
With that flippant comment, the old woman offers a sigh before leaving my room, slamming the door behind her.
Old bat.
With a mixture of anxiety and anger, I fold my arms over my chest and pace around the chamber. Franz. Could he really be involved in this in a deeper way than I know of? I'm starting to wonder what else he hasn't told me. And if he knows these disciples, or if he could even be one of them. No, that wouldn't make sense. After making sure my door is locked, I head over to the bed and lower myself down to sit on the edge, fishing out the piece of paper from my pocket. I hesitate for a moment, but finally unfold it to scan over the contents once more, swallowing the foreboding feeling in my throat. Meet me tonight, alone. I have a warning for you. Despite how clearly dangerous this is, I just can't shake the feeling that it's something more than a trap. If someone had really wanted me dead, surely they could have slipped poison into my tea this morning, since apparently I didn't notice them sneaking up behind me. More importantly, meeting this person seems like the only way I can get any answers, or at least a clue as to what's going on. Maybe I can ask Silas to wait nearby or something just for safety's sake. I'd ask Franz, except... well, his familiar manner pushed down my guard more than it should have. I think I've been trusting him far too much. Besides, there's probably some truth to what my Chronophon aunt was saying. He may be planning to betray me when it's most convenient.
Oh, stupid games.
With a yawn, I fall back on the bed, stretching my arms out as I sink into the fluffy duvet. The early evening sun lazily gleams in through the window, just bright enough to make me feel comfortably warm. Well, I'm gonna end it here, guys. This is all I can do for now. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more, just leave a like, subscribe. We're gonna do different games for now, since I want to diversify the content, and I hope you guys can support it. Again, leave a like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and if you can, just pay me up at Patreon, or hit me up at Patreon, PayPal, or Coffee, or drop by my website. That's where most of my updates happen. And you can see the latest videos of my YouTube, whether it's demonetized, adult, or not. Got it? Got it. Hope to see you guys soon. Bye for now, and boop!